It's day 5 of Oscar Pistorius' trial in the North Gauteng High Court, and we're joined on Google Hangout by our special correspondent Sipho Hlongwane. Sipho, what an interesting day in court.
Yes, it has been a fascinating morning once again, and I think obviously the most important aspect has been the testimony of Oscar's ex-girlfriend Samantha Taylor, who is speaking to the second part of the trial, which speaks to Oscar's character, and they recount events that happened before Jerusha Sukhdeo-Raath was killed.
Now, Samantha Taylor, whether she knows it or not, is painting an image of Oscar as somebody who is gun-happy and quite aggressive at times. Would you agree?
Yes, and that's the nub of the state's argument, that this is a guy who reaches for his gun and shoots before he thinks, basically. And it's very sad, I guess, to come to realize that the person that we revered as, a South African icon, if you like, harbored such a almost paranoid character that he had. Taylor spoke about times when she would be staying over at Pistorius' house, and he would wake up at night thinking there was intruders. He would immediately reach for his gun, and he'd wake her up as well, which is very crucial because on the night that Sukhdeo-Raath died, he obviously did not wake her up, but he would wake her up, and try and find out what was going on with the gun in his hand, and she would say, it's just a storm or whatever. So we're starting to get a picture of the kind of guy that Oscar was, or at least a picture of the kind of person that people around him thought that he was.
It also sounds like they had quite a tumultuous relationship. Samantha Taylor saying that she often heard him screaming and that he definitely does not sound like a woman when he does.
Yes, that was what was very smart of the prosecution to introduce that fact at this point, because for the last 4 days, that is what Barry Rue has been saying, that the neighbors could have mistaken Oscar's screams for a woman, but Taylor says that she's heard him not necessarily in fear, but she's heard him call out loud, and he definitely sounds like a man in those circumstances. But also, I guess it's an interpretation that I'm placing on her words and the things that she's been saying, and also some of the things that I've read previously that was said by Samantha Taylor's mother about Pistorius, that it was not perhaps the happiest relationship. And obviously she's spoken about the fact that they broke up twice during their relationship as well.
Sipho, let's talk a little bit about Nell's strategy as opposed to Rue's. It seems that Nell doesn't take as much time speaking to the witnesses Rue does.
Well, at the moment, we're looking at state witnesses. These are people that the state would have found and called to the front. So all the state really wants them to do is just come forward and tell the story of what was said. And what Nell tries to do is direct them in a certain direction, to get them to speak about what they heard or to speak about what they saw. Later onwards, I'm very sure that we're going to see witnesses that will be called by the defense. And then I'm very sure that Nell will, in the same way that Rue is doing right now, he will question them, he'll try and find mistakes or inconsistencies or areas where they're not sure. And I'm very sure that public sentiment will certainly swing away from Nell and towards Rue, and this is the nature of court cases. And we need to remember that this is a marathon, not a sprint,
Sipho, it's almost the end of the first week of Oscar Pistorius' trial. What are your overall impressions?
Yeah, it's like I said, I think that we need to just take cognizance of the fact that this is going to take a long time. There's going to be multiple opportunities for the state and the defense to question each other's evidence and to question each other's interpretations. So I think, we need to sort of settle down, get into the pace of the case. And also, very interestingly, we have not yet heard from any single expert witness as such. I know that we heard from Dr. Johan Stipp, who was a doctor, was one of the first people there in the scene, but he was really called to talk about the state of what he heard that night and Pistorius' state when he arrived. We have yet to hear from any, pathologists or coroners. We have yet to hear from police investigators. So really, that's when the case will get really, really interesting. That's when the trial we'll start to deal with the material facts about what happened. We've heard a little bit from both sides. We've heard the defense speak about the witnesses they will call. We've heard about the evidence that they will bring. The evidence that Oscar definitely shot through the door. The door wasn't open when he shot, which suggests, according to the defense, that the door was closed when he shot through it, and so therefore that what the neighbors must have heard. They talk about two sets of sound. So the second set of sound must have been the cricket bat. The state disputes that. All of that is yet to happen. So this is going to take a while yet.
Sipho Hlongwane, thank you very much for joining us.